Good morning and a very warm welcome to the KLM lounge here at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Guys, today we're flying with KLM in this short haul business class through to London's Heathrow aboard the Airbus A320. Never done the KLM short haul business class before, so really looking forward to bringing that to you. For now, we're going to explore a little bit more around this absolutely gorgeous lounge and then we'll be jumping on board. Let's do it together. I can't quite believe I'm about to say this out loud, but my transit through Schiphol on that morning was an absolute pleasure. I'd arrived on a pretty long haul overnight flight, so my first job was very much to find the lounge. Time was tight, so it really was a case of any lounge will do. In the end, I was incredibly lucky. I stumbled across the Crown Lounge, I think is their global flagship lounge. More on that a little bit later on. It was gloriously quiet. And I have to say, I've never seen such a large airport lounge in my life. It was absolutely huge, packed full of some really impressive facilities. As part of said facilities, showers and sleeping rooms were available. Sadly, just due to timing, I didn't get the chance to try either, but that would certainly be something worth coming back for. In terms of the food and beverage front, there was a number of different areas that one could indulge in. I was a big fan of this bar type of area. I would suggest this was something that was fairly typical to what you'd see out around the streets of Amsterdam, so I thought that was pretty cool. Just around the corner was a buffet area, so that was good to see, but as you'll see a little bit later into the review, they even had a number of restaurants in the upstairs area. So there was something I would suggest for every different type of taste, but also people with different amounts of time on their hands as well, so pretty thoughtful on that front. As my journey through the lounge progressed, I kept coming across these interesting little features. It was somewhere where I hoped that one day I'd have an awful lot more time in. Before we head off, we will head up the escalator. This was perhaps one of the most interesting areas of the lounge itself. Off to the right hand side here was a really attractive bar area, and off to the left hand side, a beautiful looking restaurant. This was called Blue, sadly not open whilst I was there, but this alone would be well worth the trip back, I'm sure. So whilst the lounge was a little bit tricky to find, my goodness, was it worth it? I would say don't just blindly follow the signs of the KLM lounge. At Schiphol, it can take you through into different passport controlled zones. You have to go through queue there and then queue to come back. Luckily, a member of the staff advised me that there was a KLM lounge in the section that I was in. So after a little bit of searching, I was able to find it, and my goodness, was it worth it? This particular one is known as the Crown Lounge. I would say it's their global flagship lounge. It is absolutely vast. I've never seen anything like it in all of my travels. It is so big, so many areas, and as I said just a moment ago, how good to get in and film it was. It's just so quiet. For now, the time my flight is rushing up upon us, so I'm going to rush on down, catch the flight, and we'll jump on board to London's Heathrow. As I departed from the lounge, I love the inclusion of the Delft Blue houses. It's something that's very much signature to KLM. If you do fly their long haul business class, you get one to choose as a gift afterwards. And I guess if you're really keen, you can collect them over the years as well. Alrighty, so that's me pretty much arrived here to the gate. Guys, should just say before we jump on board, if this is your first time viewing the channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. I've got so much on the channel from the likes of KLM, Air France, British Airways, Qatar Airways, just to name a few in the last few weeks. So if you do subscribe, the channel will help you keep fully up to date with everything that's going on. For now, let's jump on board. Can't wait to see what KLM's like aboard their short haul business class on the 737. I was very much looking forward to jump on board with KLM. Never flown their short haul product before, let alone even their business class, so can wait to jump on board 737 and see exactly what it was going to be like. Initial impressions, to be honest, a little bit retro. Alrighty, so that's me on board a pretty old aircraft, but otherwise quite nice and roomy, so yeah, for the next couple of minutes we'll check it out together. Now, whilst undoubtedly it was incredibly old, there was one thing that immediately stood out, and that was the sheer amount of legroom. This is something that you just don't get on short-haul aircraft anymore, certainly within Europe. So that was a really nice benefit. Yes, the cabin, it was old, but actually it was nice and clean. The seats seemed in decent working order. Windows, as ever, on the older 737s, you have to crick your neck a little bit to see them, but otherwise it was a pretty decent first impression.
In terms of modern conveniences, whilst I wasn't expecting much overhead, there were overhead air vents and also lights, and to my shock, there was even charging built directly within the seats. This was an international plug socket adapter just there. So overall, decent first impression from this cabin. Seats perhaps a little bit on the smaller side, lacking a little bit of padding, but overall pretty good. For now, I'm going to dim down the music and we can enjoy this fantastic takeoff aboard the 737. For the av geeks amongst you, I really do hope you're appreciating as much as me the new mic on this camera that I'm using. It picks up those engine noises very well indeed. I'd arrived into Schiphol overnight from a long connect from Seoul. That was KLM's longer business class product. I'll pop that one down in the description below so you can check that one out. It was just as glorious as when I landed in as when we eventually departed out. In terms of entertainment on board, sadly, no seatback entertainment screens and no Wi-Fi, so this magazine was about as good as it got. Thankfully, it was a very nice short flight. Just before the breakfast, I popped up to check out the bathrooms. These were conveniently located at the front of the cabin for the business class passengers. Very retro, very old, but nice and clean through the duration of the flight. And the highlight then was this absolutely fantastic looking breakfast. It was all designed by Marcel Wanders. It wasn't a designer, of course, that I'd heard of before, but I just thought it was so beautifully put together. As I then eventually opened up the box, there was a number of nice little elements to it, and I thought, particularly for such a short service, this was fantastic from KLM. Plain that even rolled that morning were the pancakes. I thought the inclusion of the menu was a nice little touch. Even with European business class, when you're offered the wines, it's very much just a case of do you want red or white, and there's no real overview or description of what you're getting. To have that full beverage menu there, I thought was a nice little touch as well. If I'm being a little bit picky, perhaps the only downside was the inclusion of the wooden cutlery. In the business class, KLM, you've got to be doing a little bit better. On the long haul, the cutlery that they included was absolutely stunning. The metal design, never quite thought I'd say that about cutlery, but go and check out the video, see for yourself, it really was fantastic. So that's one area I think they do need to improve. So as we start our final approach into London's Heathrow, most importantly, I guess what are my final thoughts on flying with KLM in this short haul business class? Overall, I thought it was really pretty good. I definitely fly with KLM in their short haul business class. Again, I thought the crew was fantastic, very chipper, very efficient throughout the cabin. Catering I thought was on point. Would have been nice to have seen the Wi-Fi on board and also a slightly more modern aircraft. Just hope their newer ones do retain the same sort of space. Guys and girls, very much hope you enjoyed today's video. Check out their long haul business class in the bottom left just now. Otherwise, all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I will see you in another one real soon.